Hey everybody, welcome Becky and hi Christina. I know you're helping out with homework right now. Um, it is just after 7, so I want to give folks a couple of minutes to jump on here. Um, I've already been warned that I probably have too much information to try to share, and so I am definitely going to try my best to speed through some of this, but I want to let you know that um, if there's anything I don't get to fully discuss, there is an extensive resource list that I have put together for you all as well. And I will share a QR code and a link afterward. But for right now, give everybody another minute or so. Um, Becky, it's nice to have you here. There should be in the chat. Um, if you would, please, I'm going to type that in right now. Please let me know where you are from and what your role is. So if you would, just go ahead and pop in a message there. I would appreciate it. And we're going to get started in 45 seconds. All right. So I say we go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. And that is not the one that I wanted to share. Let's try to get that again. And I am sort of new at this, so I'm going to apologize in advance for not being as technologically advanced as my good friend Christina. She is way better at this than I am. Um, but let's see if it lets me start it. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm working with these controls here. This is all new to me. So thank you all so much for being here, or if you are watching this afterward, I appreciate it, and I want to thank book and author for this opportunity to present today. Um, this is something that I feel very passionate about. I work in a fairly affluent community, and I feel like in many ways I am um, the person who brings a lot of diversity to my children. And I don't try to sugarcoat it. I mean, I do mm, work with middle schoolers, and so they're pretty advanced in what they can handle. And so we talk a lot about challenging issues and things that I feel like they really need to know. Before we get going, though, let's talk a little bit about Book and Author. Book and Author is a fantastic company, and they run this literacy forum, as you can see here by the text on the screen. Book and Author is your one-stop shop for all things literary, connecting schools and libraries and PTO leaders with authors near you. So you can discover an author for your next event, and they have it all powered by cutting edge technology. We have a bunch of other sessions coming up. I'm going to be doing one on the 22nd on artificial intelligence in school libraries, and I'm really looking forward to that. I presented on a similar topic not too long ago in Raleigh, North Carolina, as part of the School Library Journal summit, and that was really fun. So if you are a representative of a school or a library or a PTO, you can sign up for $25 a $25 gift card for the book and author store. So you can buy books, you can use it towards an author visit. Really awesome stuff. So check that out. All right. So a little bit about me. Um, I had the great fortune of being named the 2016 School Librarian of the Year through School Library Journal. And that was phenomenal. And I followed my good friend Christina Holzweiss, and I feel very blessed to be the only male librarian so far that has been the School Librarian of the Year, which is kind of cool. Um, I've done a lot of great stuff, but most importantly, I've been an educator of students from uh, kindergarten all the way through college. And I really, truly just love this job. And unfortunately, I only have about 3.5 years until I retire, but that is actually also a happy thing for me because that means I'm going to have much more time to devote to my writing and speaking and presenting and engaging in literacy of all sorts of new forms. Um, I wanted to start with this awesome quote by Lori Frankel. And she basically, encapsulates the whole concept here of this presentation tonight. She said that representation matters, not just because it matters that you see yourself in the world, but because it matters that you see yourself positively in the world. And we'll touch on that a little bit more as this presentation goes on. Um, I love this image. It is paper cut people of all shapes and sizes and abilities, and I think it's a good um, graphic to represent what I hope we learn today. Representation in literature is the first section. We're going to talk about why it matters. And this quote from Daniel Perez is fantastic. And I love how he talks about representation in children's literature as not only helping them to see themselves, but also, more importantly, those possibilities. And it reinforces, as he says, their belief in their own capabilities. So, the old saying, you can't be it if you don't see it, I think is really important. We have to provide all students with positive role models and examples that they can then aspire to live. So I'm sure, as book people, you are familiar with this concept of books as mirrors, windows, and sliding doors. And I am going to talk a little bit about that. I won't belabor this point too much because I know that you all probably are very familiar with this quote by Dr. Rudine Sims Bishop. Um, Ohio, woohoo! She's from Ohio State, which I didn't go to that school. I went to the other, we call it the academic school in Ohio, the Ohio University, not the Ohio State University. But I love this quote so much, and I use it with students and my teachers in my building. And I forgot to say, I'm currently a fifth and sixth grade librarian in Winnetka, Illinois. I work at a school called the Skokie School, and we about 375 kids. And this is my fifth year in that building, but my 26th or seventh year in the district. Um, but coming back to this quote, when we look at it, really there are three main points. Representation fosters our self-growth and belonging. It introduces diverse perspectives. It helps nurture empathy. And lastly, stories with authentic characters help dismantle stereotypes. So I'm gonna kind of speed through this a little bit because there are extensive book lists in the resources, and also there are quite a few book lists on the Book and Author site. But I wanted to highlight a few of these books, which Um, Again, I'm a middle grade specialist, so I'm going to highlight some of the middle grade books that are specific to this concept of books, windows, and books, excuse me, mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. And the first is New Kid. And in this book, if you haven't read it, Jordan, the main character, navigates a predominantly white private school and the challenges of fitting in. And this book is notable because it won both the Caldecott and the Newbery, and it was the first time that a graphic novel had done so. And I actually have had the pleasure of meeting Jerry Craft and having him come as an author visit. And it was phenomenal to see him draw and talk about his work with the kids. We'll touch on that concept too about having authors of a variety of um, genders and races and identities all as part of your library program. Other Words for Home by Jasmine Varga. Jude, the main character, is a Syrian refugee, and she adjusts to her life in America and navigates a new culture and a new language. We did this book as a book club, and it was such a neat experience for kids to really connect with this. And there is a phenomenal book by Catherine Marsh about a similar topic. I'm blanking on the title right now, but I'm amazed that I remember the author's name. But it deals with a Syrian boy who is in who escapes, or not escapes, but migrates and is on his own, and a family he hides in a basement, and the family kind of absorbs him into their family. It's a really beautiful story. Um, okay, now I want to talk a little bit about mirrors. So books like um, Roll With It, again, another graphic novel, phenomenal. It's about a girl named Ellie with cerebral palsy, and she uses her baking skills to navigate middle school and make new friends. And this was one of our state contest um, books. We call our contest for this middle grade is called the Rebecca Caudle Award. And so this was one of our um, book selections during that year. And it remains a very popular book that kids love. And this year, for the first time, we have a student in our school who is in a wheelchair, and our school is over 100 years old. So it wasn't built in an adaptable way. And so I'm just thinking out loud right now that might be a good idea to revisit this um, title and build some of that empathy with our students. Another thing I wanted to share with you is the book called Martin McLean, Middle School Queen. Martin, who is a mixed race and LGBTQ plus youth, explores his identity and he finds his place in middle school. Um, and I think it's really important. There are a lot of kids who are questioning their identities, or if they're not questioning it, at least they need to know that folks, identify different ways. And, I think it expands our horizons and our understanding. So this is a really powerful book that I highly recommend. All right, we're moving on to Sliding Glass Doors, and Kate Mesner's The Seventh Wish does just that. So our main character Charlie faces challenges when her sister struggles with opioid addiction. And, wow, talk about a heavy topic, but uh, prescient and very important that, we talk about that. It kind of destigmatizes the idea or the struggle that people have with addiction. I believe addiction is, a disease and should be handled as such. And I think that books like this help a lot for our students to begin to understand that. All right, the next one is The Only Road by, I can't quite see that because of my image there. It's Alexandra Diaz. Um, Jaime and Angela are two Guatemalan cousins, and they embark on a dangerous journey to the United States. And wow, uh, critical story for our students to understand. And again, I work in a fairly affluent community where our students, the many of the only People they see who are Latin American are working for their family or working in their yard or shoveling their snow. And so understanding those stories and again, developing that empathy is so important. Okay, the next section I want to talk about is building collections that reflect all our readers. So I love this quote by Jennifer Gonzalez. It is, by the way, I linked to the article, but this quote comes from an article that is on her Cult of Pedagogy uh, website, and it featured a couple of my colleagues, Julie Stivers, who was one of the school librarians of the year this past year, was the school librarian of the year, and several of her colleagues. And I just love what Jennifer said here. She said that we're not going to have diverse collections unless we specifically target and purchase these books, curating the kind of library that truly reflects the diversity of human experience takes time, intention, money, and good tools. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, one of the things that we have to do before we can like dive into tools is we've got to understand the foundation of what a diversity audit is. So, we need data. First, you identify all of the categories that you're going to be investigating, whether it be race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, disability, religion, and so on. And then you take a total count of your collection. And the next step is to count the number of items within each of these categories. So, and finally, you take this simple formula to calculate the percentage. So there's the formula is the number of category titles over the number of total titles times 100%. And this data provides you then with a baseline for understanding your um, current representation. So there are a lot of tools to help you with this concept and this process of a diversity audit. And I'm going to just briefly talk about some of these tools. Um, and I will say that um, there's much more detailed information in the resources if you want to explore these concepts. But the one that I personally am fond of is Follett's their deep dive that they give as part of their analysis program that's built in, excuse me, that's built into Tidal Wave. It offers hugely powerful features, including customizable reports based on over 40 diversity related topics, advanced search filters, and if you are already a Follett user, there is something that it integrates with your Destiny Library Manager. It even allows for custom DEI tagging within your MARC records, giving you a severely tailored approach. Okay, not all of us use Follett. I understand that. So I'm going to share with you a couple of manual techniques to do this sort of thing as well, beyond just the simple formula that I gave. So these are the key sort of criteria that you want to kind of keep in mind. You really need to know your community. Um, it is pretty easy to grab this demographic data off of PowerSchool. You can grab this information, whatever your learning management software is. You can usually grab this data. But you want to create comprehensive data that you want to look at multiple facets. You want to look not only at diversity of race, but intersectionality. Like think about how race and religion and orientations may intersect, and not all of that is going to be able to be captured in your your learning management software, but you'll have a little bit better of an idea. Also, just we're always working as librarians to make sure that our collections are up to date. Balance your storytelling. And all good librarians and teachers do this, but it's just worth mentioning again. Is just you want to balance the idea of struggles with joy and achievement. You don't want to always be the doom and gloom. It's important to share that, but also balance that with the joy. Um, Authentic representation, you want to make sure that the stories that are being told about the different identities are written by those identities. I think that's incredibly important. Um, and then make sure that your libraries as well as your collection is accessible to everyone. Okay. Um, so next we want to talk a little bit about, sort of that next step. So an audit is really just the first step, but you've got to use that data to kind of come up with your plan for your collection development. Uh, Set your goals, allocate your resources, and partner with diverse publishers and authors. And most importantly, is engage your stakeholders. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So when we bring our stories to life through our programming, we have this opportunity to really put our collection in motion. And Mallory Blackman said, when children see their lives reflected in the books that they read, they feel they and their lives are not invisible. We want them to feel seen. We want them to feel valued and um, appreciated. So as I mentioned earlier, um, the idea of increasing the diversity of our story times and balancing that joy, that's what I'm hitting on there. Obviously all good teachers and librarians are mixing up the style and genre and content of their read alouds or their story times, but also balance that the joy and doom and gloom. Bring authors to your school, whether it be virtual or in person. Um, if so many students have throughout my career have told me that bringing an author into the school help them see themselves in ways, or it helped them see someone who was very different than them, but doing what they also loved to do. Or bring writers in to do workshops with your students. I'm very fortunate. In March, Dusty Bowling is coming to our school district for 3 days. And we've been planning this for over a year and a half to get her here. And our students are just gonna, have an amazing experience with her. And Book and Author is a tremendous resource for finding um, amazing authors, but getting them into your school, and they do it in a way that is affordable. It's not prohibitive. You don't have to spend your entire budget on an author visit. You can do it fairly inexpensively, which is truly what we are all looking for right now. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that I've got everything going here on my screens here. So I want to also just mention I had already sort of spoken about the idea of book clubs and like roll with it. Like that book should come into rotation this year because not just because, but we do have a student in our school who is in a wheelchair, and I think it would help students empathize with her a bit more. We have several students who have major disabilities that make them need to use our lift or to be in a walker or, as I mentioned, the wheelchair. And that's really important that our kids see that as normal and valuable and important. Um, Cultural celebrations. I know amazing librarians who bring joy to their libraries by inviting in all manner of cultural organizations and groups so that they have the opportunity to see themselves, but also new cultures and new groups that they haven't seen. And accessibility. It goes without saying, but it is a continual reminder for me in my school and in my library with students who require lifts and wheelchairs. Just Today I had a student in a wheelchair who needed, I realized our tables were too close together. The student couldn't get into one of the tables, and that was just an oversight. So we'll be changing that up tomorrow. All right. I love, 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 love this quote. And it actually is from me, but I didn't want to put my own name there, but I did say this. It's building a truly representative library is like weaving a tapestry. Each thread, students, teachers, and community partners, advocates, all contributes to the richness and complexity of the final creation, ensuring a vibrant and inclusive space for all. All right. So let's talk about each of these groups. So, teachers, if you are a classroom teacher, uh, please get to know your librarian. They want more than anything to work with you. That is what we're trained to do. That's what we are passionate about. And all you have to do is drop them a note or stop in and speak with them for 30 seconds and let them know what you're working on. And I guarantee your librarian will jump at the chance. I know I do. But librarians, this is our chance to really get to know our curriculums or our curricula, excuse me, and find books that align with those different curricular areas. I know our school is currently pilot or not piloting. We have two new literacy programs, one for fifth grade and one for sixth grade. And I am just getting my arms around all of the ins and outs of that, as are the teachers. But we are finding many holes in our collection because this curriculum is different than anything we've ever had. And so it's going to require some expenditures to get the collection up to speed on these new curriculum areas. When it comes to students, it might seem counterintuitive. Um, that's wrong. No, it might seem logical that getting kids involved is going to make a big difference, but there's no one that I know who has done this more so than this woman right here. Julie Stivers is a phenomenal librarian in North Carolina. She's the current school librarian of the year. And she said in this article that if we build our libraries on the assumption that youth matter, how then are we tangibly realizing this idea in our programs and services? Not only do our youth matter, but they also have valuable perspectives. We must meaningfully integrate who they are into our libraries and our work consistently and joyously. So that is such a great quote. And I want to highlight just a few components of this article that is linked in the resources. But after several months of extreme work and labor, uh, Julie and her students came up with what they call the hashtag Lib5. And what those are, the five biggest ways that libraries can build an inclusive environment. And they are, and the first one is see me, listen to me. Wow. The second is show me on the shelves and walls. Read those books yourself. That's powerful. The third is graphic novels and manga are not extra. They're also, this is Julie and her students didn't come up with this, but as all of us probably know, graphic novels and manga are reading. Many, many, many educators that I've encountered eschew them as, extra. And they're not. They're the way a lot of kids connect and get their reading. The fourth one is show the joy in our stories. And I touched on this earlier when I was talking about story times or read alouds or even what you purchase and share with kids. Balance the joy. You gotta show, all perspectives of life. The last one is make the library a sorting free zone. So avoid separating students based on perceived ability, grades, etc. The very last one, I think, one, two, three, four, five. Yeah, they had an extra one. And this is sort of like the application of all of these principles is called training and application. And the students developed a training session for librarians based on the hashtag lib5 principles. And the framework can be applied to any library serving youth, whether it be in school, public, or even special libraries. Phenomenal story. Read this article. It's really inspirational. Okay, so next is how do we partner? So we've talked about partnering with students, but these are other groups that we can benefit from bringing into the conversation. So, looking at cultural organizations, partner with your local museums and cultural centers and historical societies, bring them into your library. We have a phenomenal historical society in my community where I teach. And I'm thinking right now, I haven't had them come in a while. It would be a great idea to invite them in. Advocacy groups, connect with organizations that advocate for underrepresented communities and learn about resources and best practices. Um, there's nothing better than having someone speak for those folks that you want to represent. You need to know, you need to understand. Um, Next, families. Encourage families through your workshops, through book fairs and other events to celebrate diversity and literacy. We'll touch on that a little bit more coming up. All right. So this is one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about, and I have so many resources for you the the document that I'm going to share in a few minutes. Um, but wow, what are the best resources? So let's take a look. So some of the most notable resources are phenomenally easy, free, and accessible to all of us. The incredible website, We Need Diverse Books, um, started by Ellen O and several other authors, and that organization has compiled resource lists and curated lists. They even have an app that you can use to help you in that process. Lee and Low is a publisher that almost exclusively works with marginalized communities or publishes books that are about marginalized communities. And they have a ton of diversity guides and a blog that you can access to kind of learn even more. Um, Another one is Colorado. I hope I said that right. They've got articles, awards, and publishers, and they are, I think they're connected to Reading Rockets, which is another phenomenal tool. I don't think I added that into the resources, but I will, and it will update automatically on your version of it when you get it. They are phenomenally, I mean, incredible, diverse book lists. It may seem obvious, but look at the Coretta Scott King and the Pura Belpré and the Stonewall, and the American Indian Book Awards, and look at their prior lists. That's a great place to start. Just again, make sure you're balancing the joy with the gloom and doom. Diverse Book Finder is a resource. It's a database that has diverse picture books, social justice books. They have book lists by topic and age. Reading Diversity Through Learning for Justice. They have an evaluation tool that kind of helps you look at a book and decide if it is authentic or if it is, playing on any stereotypes that you want to be careful of. All right. So, can't believe like I think I went too fast because I'm at the question section and I don't have um, I don't have a lot more to share. Well, I do, but so I'm going to stop sharing for a second if I can figure out how to do that. Let's see. All right, let's put this here. And I'm going to look. Oh, we got some more people. Hey, Katie Nelson is here. Welcome, Katie. And Kiana and Christina's still here. And Becky, welcome, guys. I appreciate you being here. Um, Oh, looking in the Q&A. So Becky, thank you very much. You're from Liberty, Missouri, Library Media in Independence, Missouri, and a small Title One elementary school. Very cool. Awesome. Well, Katie, I know where you work. You're in my district and you're awesome. And Kiana, where are you? If you want, you can just type that in, or if you don't have to. It's fine. But what questions do you all have? If anyone has a question about, um, resources or diversity audits or tools that are, beneficial for us as we do that, I would be happy to answer those. Or if I can't answer them myself, I'm certainly gonna help you find the answer. So I'm gonna put this back up here, and I am going to slide on over to my next section, which is I have collected so many resources here on this Google Doc, and in the Google Doc, there are just so many resources for all of these different concepts and ideas, from where to find great diverse books to how to do a diversity audit. um, my favorite is this one here at the end. It's a tool that I've been using a lot in my own research as a writer and as an educator. I also use it a lot to help me understand and work through concepts. And that is a tool called perplexity.ai. And I like to describe it as Google with citations. And what I mean by that is it uses AI to understand your search query. It essentially understands the context that you give it. So you can ask a question like, what are the best tools for um, creating an inclusive library space? And what you will get is not just like Google does the inundation of uh, sites and articles and things like that. You actually get basically a summary. Obviously, it's AI created, but there's a summary. But whenever it summarizes a piece of information, it links the source. So, what I do when I was researching to create resources for this workshop, I then dig into those individual sources, and that typically leads me down a path that maybe I hadn't even considered yet. So, perplexity.ai, it has a free version which I used for almost a year. And just recently, I started using the pro version because I wanted to have some of the robust tools. And as my scroll here comes up, what you're seeing right now on the screen is actually what's called a space. And Perplexity allows you to take your threads, which is what they call your individual search questions, and you can turn that into what's called a page, which is essentially a web page that has all your sources. You can customize those pages um, almost almost to no end. But then what I did was gather all of those pages into a space, which then essentially is a major web page with all of these subcategories. And not only, again, can I share this with you all? But when you go to it, you can see each of the areas and the um sorry, I'm stumbling on my words here. I apologize. You can see all of the sources, which again will, if there's something there that is intriguing to you, then you can dig into that a bit more. Okay, so let's stop looking at this scroll, and I will share with you all that if you want to take out your phone and scan this QR code, it will bring you to the resource list that you saw scrolling just a few moments ago. And it's quite exhaustive. And I also, if you find some things that also benefit us, then please share that with me. I um, have included in the resource list my contact information and my link tree in case you want to reach out to me on social media. But I included my email on there as well. Okay, so let's take a peek and make sure that we've got things in order here. The final thing I want to mention before I pop back in and see if there are any more questions is that if you didn't hear at the beginning, Book and Author is a phenomenal one-stop shop for all things literary, connecting schools, libraries, and PTO leaders with authors near you. You can sign up for free at bookandauthor.com and stay tuned for more webinars and in-person events. I know that I am teaching a webinar at the end of or near the end of January on AI in school libraries. And I have another one coming up in February about donors choose. I will have a guest on with that one. And there are many more coming. I know my colleague and friend Christina Holzweiss has some planned for a little bit later the year. And I'm looking forward to attending and learning during those as well. When I started, I mentioned that if you go to Book and Author and sign up, you can actually, if you do it within the next couple of days, they will enter you into a drawing for $25 that you can use on Book and Author, and you can use that to buy books from authors. You can use it toward, visits and things like that. So it's a great opportunity to, win some free stuff and learn as well. All right, so I'm stopping my sharing there, and okay. So yes, Becky, thank you very much. Okay, got it. Excellent. So yes, I also, you know what I will do is in the resource list, I will put a link to this presentation in case there is anything in there that you wanted to grab or explore or use yourself. You're welcome to do that. Um, so Becky, thanks so much for that kind words. I really appreciate it. And at this time, I just want to turn it over if anybody has any more questions. I don't want to belabor the point. It's been a long day for everybody. I'm sure you're tired, but I am really grateful that you all are here. Thank you for those of you who are watching afterward. I appreciate that as well. Um, Book and Author is a fantastic company. I myself only learned about it, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I'm very excited about what they are doing. And I can't wait to schedule my own first author visit through them. So if I don't see any more questions, I want to turn it over to you all and just say, again, thank you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you and learning from you. Um, in my link tree in the resources is my blog where I try to write about my practice. I've done multiple versions of blogs throughout my career, and this is the one that I'm probably the most proud of, and it certainly looks the best. So, if you want to check that out, I would love for you to do that and leave me a comment if you want. Reach out and connect. And until next time, everyone, I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your night and a great school year. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful night.